Hello, so welcome to SA2Gamers.com, one of our YouTube channels that gives you the latest and greatest SE2 replays. So today we're going to be talking about the Banshee rush, obviously by the Terrans. The Banshee rush, there's a couple of things that you need to do initially to make sure it's successful. Number one, the moment you build a supply depot or at around the same time, you should also have a refinery with at least 2 harvesters in the very first couple of minutes, and then 3 as you continue to progress and have additional SCVs. Now, by about 3 minutes, you should have a barracks up, and also by about 3:15, you should also have a factory up. The factory is a prerequisite for your starport, as most of you know. I'm going to go ahead and build that factory and then build a starport. Now, by this time, your enemy should also be sending some sort of scout. If you're a Zerg like this guy is, he's sending this big old-eyed overlord. I went ahead and sent one Marine to chase him down and knock out that overlord, which also forces the other guy to build additional overlords for population control. Alright, so I have additional SCVs, created another refinery. The key, once again, is additional workers to create those minerals, or to gather those minerals, and also to harvest the gas. The moment I create 2 refineries and I have now 3 running, I built another starport and also a Banshee on the way. Now I've also started researching the cloak units, but I don't wait for the cloak capability to turn on. I went ahead and sent that Banshee out. I'm just going to go ahead and find somebody to harass. And in this case, I've decided the person to harass is the person that sent me the big-eyed overlord. Alright, so this guy has some protection. He has 2 Marines kind of protecting him all about. I send the Banshee around the corner towards the back, then knock out his probes. Or not his probes, but his drones. So, I've knocked out the drones. By this time, I got cloak capability. I knock out the Marines and the Queen. And then, essentially, the Zerg base is left defenseless. And I knock out all of his drones. All of his army and his military, his ground base. Red, his friend, his ally, had to step in with stalkers. Now that was actually a fairly successful raid. I made another Banshee coming out in the back of blue. I cloak him out, start attacking the SCVs coming from blue team. Now there's a bunch of Marines that I need to get away from. You don't want to go and lose some of your Banshees, as much as possible. Now I got 2 of them. I should be able to at least take out some of those Marines. Now I saw that he used the stem pack, and that essentially reduces the health of those Marines. I go and cloak, attack some of his additional units. There's 2 Marines he sends over, they're already knocked out. Now I start targeting specifically the bots or the SCVs. I have another Banshee coming through. They just keep harassing. Now in the meantime, I build in additional support in the front gate. I make sure at least I have a tank ready to go and siege at any moment I want to, and additional Marines, and that's just for protection in case somebody else harasses me as well. You'll also notice that I went ahead and built an engineering bay. Now, most people don't do that at the very beginning, but I do because I wanted to build a fortress and also additional anti-air units, just in case people want to harass me using the same similar tactics, because people do learn from their attackers. Okay, now I have 3 starports. I already have a ton of Banshees popping out thanks to my great gas collection. I went ahead and have at least, I got at least 6 Banshees out here. And a couple things I'm going to be mixing up with my Banshees is probably a couple of Vikings. And the reason for the Vikings is, obviously, Terrans can lift off and those buildings can't be attacked by Banshees. And I saw the blue team create a starport, and I'm assuming he's probably going to create Banshees, additional Reapers, or other things I need to blow out. Now, just in case that he'll have cloaked units, I also will be developing a Reaper on there so that my Vikings can shoot down any cloaked air units. You'll notice that I've also put this guy on siege tank. Now, it's not much of a defense, but it's a decent defense, especially for Marines if they come in. And essentially, the tanks will pretty much weaken most of them and knock out, and it will give attackers a little bit of a doubt of attacking that particular ramp, and they may choose to go to a different ramp. So here I'm attacking and harassing. By this time, it should be a sufficient army or a sufficient collection. I have maybe 6 Banshees originally starting from here. It should be sufficient to knock out most of Blue's base. And by this time, it's essentially the game was overturned to our favor. His buildings are being attacked. I'm pretty much wiping out his only Banshee that he developed. Now red team comes in and saves him, and rescues him, and it pretty much knocks out all of my Banshees, which is expected from anti-air units. But that doesn't stop me from creating additional ones. I've already developed additional Banshees, or built additional Banshees, and developed additional Vikings. Now my friends, I'm hoping that they can go ahead and start helping me out here shortly. I go ahead and coordinate with them to attack blue together, and because apparently red is assisting blue with his anti-air units, I went ahead and developed additional Banshees, and the other teammates in my team have started sending in Roaches and also Hydras and Mutas, combination of ground, air, and anti-air units. So we go ahead together. As I signal to attack blue, I send one scout out to see what they got, but I go ahead and send the rest of my remaining Banshee army to fight along with my Zerg ally. Now, my Void Ray allies are also seeing the action, and they're stepping in to attack blue. Pretty much we're here to wipe out blue altogether. And as you can see, despite the fact that he developed Vikings, it's too late. He's pretty much wiped out. Now, the other Zerg guy tries to assist by sending in Zerglings. Obviously, that's kind of useless for a Banshee army. I did put in some ground units just in case I need to start attacking some ground units like Zergs. I often decloak when I'm resting, and the decloaking helps me recharge my energy so I can save it for future purposes. I go ahead and recloak back in for some of these units and start harassing the Zerg enemy. You'll notice red sends in his Stalker army once again and tries to interfere and save his allies. Red hasn't been attacked. Cayenne and blue have been attacked as the first folks. They've been the victim of the Banshee rush. So red is fairly strong. He has sent in a significant amount of Stalkers to defend his allies. I go ahead and tell my team to develop additional armies and to continue to attack and add pressure. And I've added in additional Banshees and also Vikings to do my third wave. Now in my third wave, I do expect my other allies to start focusing on red while I finish off the Zerg units. And here I've added in the same type of build. I've added in some Marines on there, the ones that I had defending the base. I continue to leave the tanks in place just in case there's some last surge attacks. Here I've built. I see that blues continue to use its expansions. I went ahead and harassed it and attempted to destroy his command center that's left. Overall, I roughly have about 10 Banshees and 4 Vikings and 1 Raven. With this small army, it should be enough to knock out nearly all of Zerg's base. And then as I cloak out, I should be able to knock out Penguin with his Stalker army that's at the Zerg base. So, you'll notice with the Banshees, Zergs are essentially defenseless. If they don't have mutas, they're dead. And if their ally, who actually has the ability to scan, and his command center is destroyed, they have nothing. I mean, spores can't do anything if it's destroyed, and the scans are left to nothing. So now that I've destroyed the Zerg units, I went ahead and started approaching the red team. Now the Void Rays are being collected up here in the top left of the screen. I'm attacking in. I'm attacking from the east side, and then the Void Rays start attacking from the west side, and that essentially will knock out Penguin or the red team out. Now I have the Reaper sending down an auto turret just for the heck of it because I'm bored. And I'm also destroying all these additional buildings that he's developed. Now I've sent the Vikings away, seeing as there's no air threat. I went ahead and sent them to ground mode just to help out destroy all of these warp gates out. Once all the teams, once all my allies have converged in the same location, you know, with the Void Rays, with the Zerg attacks, as well as the Banshee attacks, has weakened 2 allies. Penguin has no choice but to disappear. He has no ability to defeat cloaked units. He doesn't have any cannons. His allies don't have any scans. He essentially is dead on the water, and everybody else quits with him. So this is an example of a very successful Banshee rushes, a very successful Banshee rush. And these type of rushes are good and effective if you have cooperative teammates. Now, obviously, these 2 teammates didn't attack with me at the very beginning as they were building out. This is where the Banshee's cloak capabilities really help out, because you really don't need a lot of Banshees to do damage. As you saw earlier, we only used 1 Banshee to weaken the Zerg base and also to attack the blue base. So hopefully you enjoyed that from se2gamers.com, and watch out for additional videos. Take care.